All right, folks, let's get started. I welcome you to the Board of Governors meeting for the California Community Colleges, and I'm delighted to have the first item on our agenda be a commendation for our former president, Manuel Baca. I'm going to turn it over to Chancellor Harris.
Thank you, Vice President Estolano, members of the board. It really is a pleasure to have the opportunity to recognize a past president and member of the Board of Governors, Dr. Manuel Baca. And I do want to read this resolution. I think it embodies the service that the honoree has given not only to our colleges but to the great state of California and the U.S. Whereas Dr. Manuel Baca served as a distinguished member of the Board of Governors of the California Community Colleges from 2009 to 2015, and whereas Dr. Manuel Baca held the position of board president from 2012 to 14, during which time he worked tirelessly to improve educational achievement within the system, and whereas Dr. Manuel Baca has spent much of his career at Rio Hondo College as a political science professor and occupied several faculty and administrative positions within the California Community College. And whereas Dr. Manuel Baca, driven by his service in the United States Marine Corps, is a passionate supporter and advocate of veterans in California and within the California community colleges, and has worked without fail in helping colleges support and understand student veterans. Whereas Dr. Manuel Baca was instrumental in the development of campus-based veterans resource centers, an exceptional area on many California community college campuses that helps veterans and military personnel transition back to academic and civilian life. Whereas Dr. Manuel Baca was the architect of the annual Chancellor's Office Foundation for California Community Colleges Veterans Summit, a conference held to initiate better ways to serve and support student veterans, including training programs for faculty and staff. Whereas Dr. Manuel Baca served as a board member for the California Community Colleges Student Success Task Force that made 22 recommendations, specific policy recommendations with a mission to improve academic success within the California Community Colleges, a set of recommendations that became the foundation for the Student Success Act of 2012. Whereas Dr. Manuel Baca is a member and past president of the Mount San Antonio Community College District Board of Trustees, a board empowered by the California State Constitution to make policy for the college. And whereas Dr. Manuel Baca should be commended for his leadership, devotion, persistence, ingenuity, expertise, and unwavering dedication in supporting and promoting the California Community Colleges system and its 2.1 million students, now therefore be it resolved that the Board of Governors of the California Community Colleges recognizes Dr. Manuel Baca for his outstanding contributions to the California Community Colleges, and be it further resolved that the Board of Governors appreciates the many accomplishments of Dr. Manuel Baca, an exemplary public servant, educator, and veteran who has dedicated his life to help make better the lives of countless students and the institutions that serve them. The board wishes him well in his future personal, professional, and civic educational endeavors. Please join me in congratulating him.
Now, we have a number of speakers on this item. And perhaps, Professor Baca, if you could maybe take one of the seats and right up front, and we'll have a couple of folks come up.
The first speaker, David Morse.
Still helping. Thank you. Good morning. At our recent plenary session, the Academic Senate also passed a resolution honoring Manuel Baca for his service as a member of the Board of Governors and also for his representation of faculty over the last several years. Manuel has attended many of our Academic Senate events and participated as a presenter, has helped us in presentations and other venues, and we have always appreciated that collaboration. I also had the personal experience of getting to serve with Manuel on the Student Success Task Force a couple of years ago, and therefore got to know him more personally in that instance. And so on both a personal and a professional level, I've always appreciated his dedication, his leadership, and the common sense that he brings to discussions. So as the board is honoring Manuel Baca today, the Academic Senate just wishes to add our congratulations and best wishes.
Thank you. The next speaker will be retired Marine Gunnery Sergeant Lorenzo Harmon.
I am retired Marine Gunnery Sergeant Lorenzo Harmon. I work here as a Student Services Program Specialist for Veterans. I work at the Veterans Resource Center. Listening to the award that Dr. Baca just received, it's even better so you can see what you have done, and you can see it in me. You helped create the Veterans Resource Center. When I started here in 2010, I had nowhere to go. I just kind of roamed the campus after class. Once they created the Veterans Resource Center, that small little place that you started us with, it meant a lot. It helped me realize that the school cared about its veterans. So I went on to get a bigger space for us. You pushed for that, and you even pushed to get us this new building, new space that we're getting. And as a veteran, we like to thank you for all the things you've done, from the staffing that you have created to support your veterans on the local and state level, for the funding you keep pushing for to help for veterans. I want you to see it in me. You help me to continue. I'm an alumni of Mount SAC now. I'm continuing to go on, and I'm hoping to be back here one day following in your footsteps and doing what you've done. So as a veteran, fellow Marine, I thank you personally for everything that you've done, and this comes from me and all the veterans locally and nationwide that you have reached out and touched their hearts. Thank you, Dr. Martin. Thank you. You have to get something.
The next speaker would be Dr. Lynette Niaga.
I feel a little funny here with the computer, but here I am. Good morning. I'm here today to thank Dr. Manuel Baca for his service to the California Community Colleges as the president of the Board of Governors. I do this both as president of the Community College Association and as a friend. I know Mount SAC claims him because he's their Board of Trustee member, but he really belongs to my college, Rio Hondo.
That's right.
And I want you to know that Rio Hondo had a unique distinction for 30 days in June of 2013, that the president of the Board of Governors, the president of the Academic Senate, and the president of the Community College Association were all from Rio Hondo. And then Michelle left. So now we had only two. I respect Manny for his devotion to students, especially the veterans who have a special place in his heart. He has served them for many years and continues to do so. His calm and respectful demeanor as president of the Board of Governors encouraged members and guests alike to speak freely. And I thank him personally for being my friend and always supporting me through a difficult time in my life. I know he will continue to serve, but we were very Fortunate to have him as president of this distinguished body. Thank you, Manny.
Thank you. We have a Audrey Yamagata Noji.
Good morning, members of the board. On behalf of the Chief Student Services Officers of the California Community College System, we'd like to thank and congratulate Dr. Manuel Baca for the years of dedicated service. We like to think of him as the man for all seasons because he was there for every particular initiative, every cause. The resolution kind of said it all in terms of all of the various initiatives that you've had your personal touch on for community college students. Your steadfast belief in standing up for students' rights, for their needs, for being able to articulate that statewide and to your colleagues and the Board of Governors has been outstanding and has served to touch so many, many lives. A lot of people are claiming you today, which is a good thing, and so we're certainly glad you're staying with us on the Mount SAC board. But as somebody who also served in EOPS and as in student services, we will always claim you as an honorary part of our organization. But know that when you attended all those meetings and when you flew everywhere, when you made yourself available to meet with students and to speak, it was from the heart because you cared. And so we wish you well, and it is with our utmost gratitude that we thank you for all that you've done and all that you will always mean to us.
Thank you. Irene here. Irene? Here. Hi.
Good morning, Mana. Good morning. Good morning. I brought a group of students, EOPS students and AB 540 students in EOPS. And today, Manuel, we'd like to thank you for all that you have done for EOPS, all that you have done for students. And they would like to say something to you.
Good morning, board members. On behalf of EOPS, we would like to present the certificate of appreciation to Dr. Manuel Baca. Thank you for advocating for our program. It is very much appreciated. I'm a current foster youth, and I can truly say I don't know what I'd do without EOPS. Thank you.
I want to end this with thanking him personally because, and if I get a little choked up, he knows we go way back. But I was an EOPS student, a care student, and he helped me get through the trenches. And without this man, I would have never made it. I was a care student, single mom, and domestic violence, but he helped me. So I have followed his path by doing EOPS and advocating for students. So when you think that your support is not valued, it is valued. Our students move up, they go to universities, their dreams come true. This man has been instrumental in changing many lives. And as I sit here with Manuel, it's not my life that he's changed. He's also changed my family, my granddaughter in generations, Manuel. My granddaughter now has completed her bachelor's in chemical engineering, and she is now hired for the government, and she's working at an Air Force base, and she will be there for 3 years where they will allow her to get her master's, so she's a STEM student. So this has been a product from a man that has believed in students, and so I ask you, as you are making laws and policies, that you remember the students that just came in, foster youth, AB 540, veteran students that need you to make laws, to help them, support them when they're going through these tough times. Thank you so much, and thank you for this man that has done so much in this community.
Thank you. Bill Scroggins. Dr. Scroggins.
Well, it's a rare opportunity to say that the man sitting next to me is my boss, and he's my friend, and he's my compass, because Dr. Baca leads with his heart. When we talk about getting things done, he says, all right, is this the right thing for students? How's this going to work? How can we get there? And he always challenges me to get to the next level. And I appreciate that, Manny. You don't see all the things that he does because he's on this campus all the time. And a lot of what you see around you here, not just the buildings, anybody can do buildings, but you saw we brought our students in, and you saw the passion and connection of those students. That's Dr. Baca's legacy, is the students. It's not a name on a building, it's not a title, it's all of the lives you have touched, including mine. Thank you, Dr. Baca.
Colleagues, does anybody want to make any comments? Because if not, I will. All right, go ahead, Carol Sumner.
I was just going to say, I'm just so impressed with just the short time that I've had to work, got the opportunity to work with you, and just taking me out to the campuses that you took, Cecilia and I. Even when we came here on my crutches the last time, I was determined. You were like, you will come here, we will make it happen. We will get you a cart. And you did get me a cart, and I walked around the campus hobbling with crutches. And to be back here and them honoring you today, and to see that soon the vet center is going to be opening. So for me, I really hope to come back for that. But not only that, yesterday, talking to the students out there, the passion they love, it is in their heart, and you can just see it in their eyes that you've made a difference. And you've made a difference in my life, so thank you.
Manuel, I'll take the last word because I have the opportunity to do that. You are a gentleman. You are a role model. When I got on the Board of Governors, and it's such an honor to be on this board, part of what made it so special was to serve with you as the president. And you are well known among Latinos as a pioneer in the field, in your field. You've been a role model for generations of Latinos moving through the system and seeing that they can reach higher education and become a PhD. You're a homie from New Mexico, yes, where much of my family hails. And I think the thing that I've been so impressed with is that you just never lost your commitment for folks who need that extra bit. And watching your leadership on the board has really been wonderful for me. It's taught me a lot. And I really appreciate you reaching out to me and Nancy and new board members when we came on a little over a year ago, really trying to make us feel welcome and help us find our way on a very complex system. So I am delighted to be able to present you with this resolution, and I know that our friendship will go on because we all share this commitment, and you are a true role model in the system. Thank you. And now you get to speak. We'll let you go a little longer than 3 minutes. It's okay.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and Bryce. Very, very nice, and all of you. Thank you to all my friends. I feel very humbled, very touched. Hopefully I can say a few things before I collapse into some kind of craziness. But the community colleges has been, for me, a home. I spent a good amount of time prior to coming to the community colleges at CSU nonprofits and worked in construction for a period of time. But I did recognize in my early 30s that the community colleges and education was indeed the way to get out, to advance and to create a good life. Especially after having worked in a nonprofit where I could see taking care of folks for a couple of days, but I knew they'd be back in the same place a couple of days later. So I was very fortunate to be able to get into the community colleges and make a very good career and at least have some impact on it. But for me personally, it has a deeper meaning because, as you mentioned, I'm from New Mexico and raised in Albuquerque. And I'm definitely one of those individuals who needed a second, third, fourth chance. By the time I was 16, I was pretty much an alcoholic. By the time I was 17, I had accumulated a fairly lengthy juvenile record. And I had done enough stuff with my high school that I was expelled not only from that high school, but from every public high school in Albuquerque. And my probation officer at that time, Mr. Perez, said that I had kind of hit the end of the road, so I had a choice, either spend 3.5 years in state boys home or enlist in the military. Well, that was a no-brainer for me. That's what I wanted to do. And automatically, it had to be the Marine Corps. So my best friend, Fernando, joined me, and we entered the Marine Corps, and both served a tour of duty there, lapsed. He came back a year after I did. Unfortunately, on Christmas Day, he decided to end his life within 2 months after his return from Vietnam. But in refocusing and really rethinking, and many of my friends, they got caught up in the criminal justice system, and drugs, or maybe were maimed or left in Vietnam. But I had somewhat of an awakening when I was assigned to a duty station in Barstow to do military police duty, and or work the warehouse as it turned out. And it was a good transition. But the biggest thing that happened to me there was learning about Barstow College. And so I attended a couple of classes there while I was still in active duty. And on my return to Albuquerque, one of my friends said to me, I can't believe you're in college. I said, well, in California, they'll let anybody in. and so he said, I kind of figured that, but you didn't need to tell me about it. And so he said, but you got to push it. And I had been pushing it pretty much all along. I went back to Albuquerque and knew that I couldn't stay there much longer, and decided to be a first generation immigrant from Albuquerque. And came out here, and like many veterans, ended up homeless off and on for a couple years, off and on. But I had the fortune of ending up at Rio Hondo College and meeting an EOPS director who was a real path setter, civil rights activist, all of those, Arturo Franco. And he became my mentor and friend up until his death. So we had a lifelong relationship, but he never let me get away with anything. So, he was a World War II veteran. He'd always, tell me, he said, you know what, I was on the real war. and so, but he'd do those things, but he did it in order to keep pushing me. And so I've had a tremendously good career in the community colleges, one that certainly at the age of 17 or 18 I never thought I would have. But the community colleges has filled me with a lot of good opportunities to serve, but also has meant tremendously to me in terms of just helping me in the right path. So I thank all of you for the recognition this morning. I know you got a lot of stuff to do, so I'll let you get on with those things. And again, I can't tell you how much I've enjoyed being part of this board. I want to close off by thanking my faculty at Rio Hondo and the Academic Senate leadership for nominating me, and for Governor Schwarzenegger for originally appointing me to this board. It was great to be able to work with many of you, and certainly with Bryce Harris and Jack Scott, who are exemplary leaders in this state, in the community college system. I don't think that we've had two better chancellors in recent years than Bryce Harris and Jack Scott. Thank you very much.
we're going to get this framed. So this may be the only time we gave a resolution and immediately took it away.
All right.
Let me put this.
And
One, two, three. One more. Great.
Wait.
Hold on.
Thank you.
Congratulations. Take care.
If I could just do a little bit of what you did out
Well, so Dr. Scroggins, try to follow that up. We're on item 3.1, a report from Mount San Antonio College, Community College District. Would love to hear your
So I
thoughts.
have a PowerPoint to share with you. You have some hard copies, and
Yeah.
I think it's going to get displayed here in a minute. So I appreciate the opportunity to share a little bit about Mount San Antonio College with you. I hope you enjoyed your stay here and you've got a chance to meet some of our students and see how the policies that the Board of Governors put in place affects one of the leading colleges in California. So the topic for this is that we're in a period of restoration and growth. And that's a nice place to be in. But the challenge is how to use those resources to best improve access and student success. So how much has this affected access? Well, you can see that in the year from 2010-11 to 11-12, the enrollment at Mount San Antonio College went down about 8%. And of course, we had 2 years during the recession, for the first time in the history of California community colleges, where actually the number of students funded went down. And this was a tremendously difficult adjustment for Mount San Antonio College because the need was tremendous. We had tens of thousands of students coming to our door asking for classes, and we could not meet that demand. Those who were out of work needed to retool and to be able to come back. And when the economy recovered, the spring of 2013, right after the passage of Proposition 13, we were on it. We were growing. So you can see the impact very quickly. The last 2 years, we've grown by 3.6% and then 5.37%. Notice that's above the state-funded growth, so that we are doing that to meet the needs of our students. And we're projecting to grow 3.8% this year. We're the largest single campus district in the state, and we're at 31,276 FTES and projecting to go over 32,000. And so now we're, as of last year, we're back to where we were before the recession. But the demand for classes has slowed down, and that reflects the pattern of the economic recovery. I'm sure all of you know that that's counterpoint. When there's good times for the economy, people are at work, and the demand for our courses are less, but we have money. It's, the paradigm is that in a recession or a downturn, the population needs more training, but the resources are less. So what we've been doing is responding to the need of students by adjusting our enrollment to meet the demand, which is a new set of jobs coming back. The jobs that are coming back are not the same jobs that were lost. But while our primary term demand is down to about 1% growth, we're growing in summer and winter intersessions and getting students through the programs faster, which is a real positive for those who want to get trained and out into the job market right now. And the pattern of return to enrollment reflects the new situation. So the enrollment is up in day students. Those are the ones that are not working yet. They're coming here for their training. The ones who are needing basic skills, up 16.5%. So we're drawing in those students who can't get into the job market. We're down in full-time students, but up in part-time students. So people are trying to earn a living and coming back to us on part-time. That's always been one of the challenges for community colleges. Half or more of our students come to us part-time because of life situations, not by their own choices. And we've been marketing. And if there's one thing that I would ask your assistance in going forward is a very strong system-level marketing for enrollment. Market to today's students. As you're seeing colleges do innovative programs, help us market them around the state, because the recovery of enrollment is not equal around the state. And marketing has been good for us. First-time students this fall were up 5.8%. That's 1,000 students more of new students that are coming to us than previously. We applied for a pilot baccalaureate degree in histopathology. If you want to know what that is, just watch CSI, those lab technicians that are doing those tests on various body fluids and parts. That's that program. So we're waiting for the next round of BA pilots for Mount San Antonio to participate. But we're not waiting inactively. We're partnering with other institutions to bring baccalaureate degrees right here on campus. The two that we just started this fall were the bachelor's degree in nursing, and you can tell CSU that we're going to offer them on our campuses no matter what they say. So we've got Mount St. Mary's from across the county here on our campus with 20 students in a bachelor's degree in nursing right here on our campus. Cal Poly next to us doesn't offer it, but we do. We're serving the Valley for our higher-end nurse training. And the bachelor's degree in business administration from University of Laverne. Just a 10-minute drive from us here, but they want that degree here because they've got an outstanding business program, and they want our students right here to get right into our programs. So we're going to continue to doing it because we need those number of baccalaureate degrees. Any way possible, we're going to do it. We are extremely diverse here. We are 55% Hispanic, 17% Asian. That's a reflection of our community, almost exactly the same demographics here in the East San Gabriel Valley. And there's many more statistics. 44% first time in their family to go to college. 71% getting financial aid. So we're a reflection of California, and we're a reflection of what this nation will be going forward. And we do a good job with those students. The scorecard data, by the way, we love that scorecard, and the fact that it's going to show skill builders, that's a great piece for us because we really, in this area, do a lot of that. But you can see that Mount Sac is at 73% completion for students who come to us prepared. That's over 3% above the state average. And those who are not prepared, 41%. That's a couple of percentage points above. But this is the message all around the state. If you're college prepared, the success rates are fantastic. If you're not, it's a struggle. So look at the demographics. You'll notice that the disproportionate impact on traditionally underserved populations for those who are prepared is relatively flat. Yes, the Asian population, the Filipino population does well, but if you compare African American, Pacific Islander, and white populations, Hispanic populations, fairly consistent performance and high level. Hispanic success rate, 69% of those who come to us complete within 6 years. But then look at the drop off for those who are unprepared, particularly for Hispanic students, more than 30% less of unprepared. This is where we need to work, preparation for college, and that's one of our missions, as you'll see in the work that we're doing. I couldn't get everything on student success and equity on one slide, but I tried. The fact that we require orientation is nothing new to Mount SAC. More than 20 years we've required orientation. Literally, students cannot enroll in Mount SAC unless they've gone through orientation. We have in person, we have online, we have video, we have parent orientation. It's critical, and one of the reasons those numbers are so good, we get students started right. The assessment, we have online ed plans. This is our 4th year of having DegreeWorks, what we call the Mountie app. We have over 17,000 students with full educational plans online, and that empowers students. The students work with our counselors on producing those. We are into pathways in a huge way. So we have support pathways and academic pathways. You've seen our veterans program. You've seen ACES, Aspire. We have an A thing around here. All of those support pathways, we connect students to the college through those pathways. We have a future teachers pathway. We have at-risk student pathways. We have organized by ethnicity. We have a dream center. We had it long before anybody talked about having a dream center. As soon as AB 540 was in, we were here. We have a full-time director. We have a full-time counselor. We have a place for dreamers to go. We have more than 20 specific scholarships for dreamer students. International Student Center, and more and more. Connecting community college students to the institution is key to their success, and we do that in a big way. Success centers are an amazing asset to students. So we have existing, we have a learning assistance center, we have math and writing centers that we've had for a considerable period of time. With the SSSP and the equity money, we're expanding the success centers all throughout campus. So we're adding a STEM center, an online testing center. What that means is faculty who want to verify that students are taking an online assessment, they can have them go to that center, which is set up to do online testing. We proctor for other institutions who have online as well. That's going to be a key component going forward. We're excited about the expansion of a system-wide online education initiative. We're part of that pilot, and it's going to be a great asset to increasing access to students who really need the ability to take a class anytime, anywhere. We're big into acceleration, and I'll show you some data soon. You saw the Summer Bridge program. It was one of our demonstrations out there. I'm going to show you another pathway that we do. We have the transfer pathways in math and English is an accelerated program. I'll show you those statistics. We're part of the Carnegie Statway program, which combines algebra and statistics into a 2-semester sequence and gets students in the non-sciences ready for baccalaureate degree programs. We have a Title V Hispanic Serving Institution grant that's based on pathways. So we're taking the principle of the nursing program, which requires prerequisites. You apply, you get in, you're guaranteed the 4 semesters. You go through as a cohort. Success rates are 90+% on both completion of the program and passing of the NCLEX international exam. So we're doing that same model in child development, bringing students through in a cohort, in culinary arts and radiation technology and paralegal, respiratory care. We even have a GE, a general education cohort, applying that method of getting students together, bonding together, and going through the program. We are one of 30 community colleges who have been accepted nationally into the AACC Pathways program, which is going to transform institutions on this very way of getting students into a program of study, pushing them through it, staying together, bonding, and completing. So here's one of our acceleration programs. It's called Pathway to Transfer.
It combines 3 courses, the 2 levels below transfer, which is our English 67 and 68, and English 1A. There's 2 cohort pathways. There's summer, early fall, late fall. There's winter, early spring, late spring. So within 6 months, they finish all 3 classes. They stay together. Same time, they're guaranteed enrollment in the next course. They're supplemented with a library skills course. The data shows in the blue the throughput of students in both the pathways and non-pathways. You notice the drop-off because students don't enroll in the next course. So it's not just passing a course, it's being able to enroll in the next course is a big part of this acceleration. And while the numbers are not what we'd like them to be, 28 out of 100 students completing within that 6 months, and we're going to make it better. This is our 3rd year of doing this program. It gets better every year. You notice the very disappointing story of students who don't go through this program. Within that same 3-semester period, only 5 out of 100 students actually complete all the way through English 1A. This is one of our biggest problems of getting students ready for college is getting through these math and English pieces, and acceleration really helps. Here's the similar system we have in math. 2 levels below college and the college course. In 6 months, 30 out of 100 get through, only 3 before. Encourage these curriculum innovations. That was one of the recommendations in the Student Success Initiative. There's a lot of those that have been funded through the Basic Skills Initiative, through student support, student equity. Don't let up on us on this. Make us do this. It really works. We're also in a growth mode, so we need buildings. You went around our campus, you saw how many portables we have out there. We need buildings to put all those faculty we're going to hire into those buildings. So the Child Development Center opened last year. You saw our new Student Success building that's about to be completed. Our food court is opening this spring also. We broke ground on 100,000 square foot business in computer science. This building is built only with local bond money because there hasn't been a state bond for schools since 2006. Where is the facilities going to come from for us to grow? Where are we going to have the unique facilities that meet the job market today? Where are we going to have the specialized facilities that provide the places for students to connect to colleges and grow? We need the facilities. Our local folks have been great in passing bonds to support us, but this is a state priority and really needs to be followed through. We're rebuilding our stadium. We have a new student center in 2 years, and here's, as a closing, this will just cycle through some of our new buildings. We appreciate your leadership in revising laws and regulations that allows increased access and meaningful access that produces growth. We appreciate your ability to hold us accountable because in these numbers to have the public discourse about the value of community colleges, these numbers are amazing for us to provide the opportunity to see the wage gains and things like that. Amazing contributions. Hold us accountable going forward so that as this money comes to us, we're using it well. The reports that we're required to produce, be sure that you, as a Board of Governors, get good input from where it's working and where it's not working, because that will guide your future direction for policy changes as we implement new initiatives such as the CTE area. In addition, a gift that you didn't ask for was the institutional effectiveness piece. That is a tremendous resource because it now brings peer technical assistance to colleges to be able to do this work. Don't let up on that. Give guidance to the priorities that go out there for technical assistance because we don't all need the same help and we can help each other in tremendous ways. And we are pleased to be part of the greatest college system in the nation. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Scoggins. Colleagues, anybody have any questions or comments?
Yes, I do.
Board Member Avalos.
Thank you. Thank you, Doctor. So I commend you on your work with the pathways to transfer. Right?
Yes, thank you.
I see the numbers and it's just amazing, right? When we look at math and you see that, non-pathway it's 3, pathways 30. That's a huge multiplier, 1,000x.
It is.
Huge.
Yes.
So what can we do as a Board of Governors to help you not only for 30, but for 3,000, let's say? What can we do to help you?
Well, for example, you're helping us right now with the money in the Basic Skills Innovation Grants. So this is an area of implementation, not experimentation. We know what works. So what I would encourage you to do as you roll out these initiatives, be sure that they are implementing effective practices. We don't need to experiment anymore. We need to produce more of this. In addition, when we're hiring new faculty, as we've done now, be sure that the effectiveness of the new faculty is to have instructors that understand our students. Publicize this tremendously. Help us with effective hiring practices. Again, publicize statewide that we're doing this faculty hiring. Tell the story of community colleges so we can attract faculty that are going to be able to do this. This is not your grandfather's math teacher that we're hiring here. These are people that understand how students learn today. So we need the system to be a system, to tell the story, to attract the people into the college employment that we really need to do this work. Develop leadership, the next generation of leadership, because every campus needs to have the people at the top set priorities to get this work done. It's a hard enough job as it is, but help us with the leadership development. Work with the Cal State EDD programs. Work with the CEO board, which is interested in doing development of new leadership, as is the CIO and the CSSO board. Help develop the leadership of those who understand how to do this work. Make it the best place to work, because it has been in my career. Make sure that you're attracting the top players into community colleges. This is the best place to work and have an effect of any place in California. This is the future of California we're shaping. Get people who want to be part of the future of California to come and work for us.
Great. Can I
please.
also have a follow-up? So I was quite moved by Irene Herrera's comment to Dr. Baca. It's just compelling that a program such as EOPNS is making such a difference and made a difference in her life, but also transcended generations. That's just monumental, right? And when I look at the numbers, 55% of your school here is Hispanic, Latino. And when we look at completion rates for Hispanics, Latinos at this campus, roughly when I look at the overall, it's 60% that's not completing, 40% is completing. So, my request to you is, how do we continue to move that needle, right? Because ultimately, your largest population is Latino, and yet that's the largest population that's not completing. So to me, it's like, what can we do to help you with that as well? But also for you to see what you can do to continue to move the needle with innovative programs such as Bridge, how to expand that to not only serve 500, but to serve, again, 3,000, right? So thank you for that as well.
You're welcome. And bringing these initiatives to scale is the system's challenge right now. So as we implement the Student Success Initiative, as this money is just beginning to be spent, it takes time for those numbers to move. So again, hold our feet to the fire, look for that gain, and extract out of the reports we give you the effective practices that work, and encourage us to spread those effective practices through initiatives like the Institutional Effectiveness Partnership Initiative. Share the successes across campuses, because we don't discover these 113 times. We need to discover them and spread the effective practices across. Let's behave like a system instead of 72 districts to improve effective practices and get to scale.
Any other comments? That was stirring. Thank you so much for your presentation. You have a beautiful campus.
Thank you.
It was a delight to meet your students and some of your staff members last night. You've been a tremendous host, and I feel totally inspired by your example here at Mount SAC. So thank you for giving us some advice on how to keep the momentum going, and
You're
we
welcome.
appreciate you. Okay. Thank you. All right. Our next item is item 3.2, the Associate Degree for Transfer Update. Vice Chancellor Walker.
President Estolano, Chancellor Harris, board members, members of the public. Let me just give you an update on SB 1440. That was our implementation of associate degrees for transfer. In your board backup, you have a significant amount of information about the work that we have been doing since 2011 when Senate Bill 1440 came into effect. And the most important piece that I do for you today is to try to keep reminding you of the current status. So as President Scroggins just talked about, those students who are completing their work and able to transfer, let me explain to you now that we are still at 1,973. We're just a little off of that 2,000 goal that we wanted to find. 58 of our community colleges have met the requirement to develop the ADT in every major offered by that college, approved prior to 2013. And of the remaining colleges, it says in the book 26, but as of last night, 27 were only one away, and 19 were two away. So some of the complications are just making sure they get the curriculum through the process, and they're doing that today. We do have challenges with a couple of programs keeping computer science and music ADT at that 60 20-unit limit. But we feel like we're continuing to work on that. And then, of course, the approval courses in the CID process. And immediately after this meeting, many of us are meeting with Irene Malgrim, who is with Bill Scroggins here on this campus, is running the CID program. So we don't want 1 second to get away from this exciting work we're doing. So anyway, we're very close. We feel very good about this work. And there are a few colleges that are continuing to struggle. Maybe they had some transitions on their campuses. And so we're going to go in as spot teams and try to help them complete that process this fall and early spring. And along the way with this exciting program, I'd be remiss not to tell you that the Chancellor has worked significantly with Janet Napolitano, the president of the UC system, to try to find ways for us to see some UC pathways. Last week she announced that they will get to these 21 pathways. They're not guaranteed like CSU, but this is a tremendous gift for California community colleges. And she told Vice Chancellor Nolden and I that the importance is that for every 2 students who come to the UC system as a high school student, she will make sure there will be 2 to 1, one transfer student. We asked her to flip it, but she wasn't quite there yet. But I think that what she's saying is they're going to open up the UC system for at least 10,000 more students this next year. So I think this program probably leveraged those opportunities as well. So congratulations to all of you. And we'll just continue to work with all the colleges to make sure that they complete this process. We're very, very close.
Also point out to the board on the bottom of page 146, I think it's really important that you realize that students are using this program. As you can see, back in the first year, only a few hundred, and that number, we kind of thought maybe it would double again this year. It almost did, going from about just shy of 12,000 students to about 21,000. But we really do believe this is going to ultimately become the accepted pathway to transfer. It is in such good interest of students, because in the past, without this program, many students have accumulated 54, 56, 58 units and then made the transfer. And unfortunately, some of them have had problems in their junior or senior year, had to stop their education, and they have virtually nothing to show for that. With this program, they are a college graduate before they transfer. And then certainly we hope every one of them complete their bachelor's degree. But if they don't, for whatever reason, they're still a college graduate. They have a college degree from one of our institutions. And so this ADT program has not only been a miraculous job on the part of our faculty. Creating these degrees in this short period of time is nothing short of miraculous. But it's going to ultimately be a tremendous benefit to the students and to the state of California as more and more of these numbers. I think you'll see this 20,000 go up 10 or 20,000 a year for the foreseeable future until, again, a large percentage of our students are transferring with these associate degrees for transfer. So congratulations to the faculty who have labored tirelessly on this and the academic leadership up and down the state, and kudos to the California State University faculty as well, who have been hand in hand with our faculty in these developments. So, and Pam and her team have dogged this thing from the beginning, and I want to express my appreciation to all of them. We have challenges in curriculum approval in the Chancellor's office that we're working on, but in spite of those, the faculty at the colleges and the staff at the Chancellor's office have really moved the ball. They've gotten this work done.
Any comments or questions? Board Member Avalos.
Yes, I do. Thank you for the presentation. So one of the things I'd also like to point out, Chancellor Harris, is that on that same chart, one of the things that I find that's impressive is associate science for transfer. It's actually by proportion going up more, right? So it's almost 50-50. It's almost at parity now in 2014-15, which is impressive when it started at only 8%. So it went from 8% to 47%, which is really impressive, right? So talking about STEM, where we are in jobs for the field, so that's really important. The next thing is I calculate there's 9 laggards, right? So of the 113, there's 104 accounted for, so 9 that we're not accounting for in the data. The question is, obviously, who are those 9? If you can tell us a couple of those, that'd be great. Or if not, you can send me the data later. But I'd like to know who they are.
Yeah, I'd be happy to send that data to you. I have, having spent a lot of years on a campus, we'd rather help nudge them along than beat them up in front of everyone. But I'll let you know who they are. And we've actually been in significant conversation with them, with their presidents. The Chancellor nudges them, and then he lets me pinch a little bit, and so we're moving that along as fast as we can. But I'll get you that data.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, it's at the end of the day, we want to help our students.
Absolutely.
Right, and if we have 9 that aren't really signing up for this amazing program, then there's a problem.
Why don't we make a commitment to the board that at the March meeting we'll bring you in a public session the progress for the colleges. And I think between now and March, Pam, it'll be miraculous, the progress that will be made.
There will be no problems in March.
Knowing that report is due. Any other questions? Board Member Belansky.
I just want to note, because I think it's helpful to know this, that as of July 1st, there was a change in how the ADTs could be moved forward to the State Chancellor's office for approval. You then had to have full CID approval, not that they had been submitted and they were in progress, but full CID approval. And I do want to note the comment that's made on page 144, because I am the CID submitter at my college. I know that it's taking too long in some disciplines, to the extent that it really is slowing people down, and they're instructional faculty are looking and saying, if you can't get that reviewed and approved, what's the use? So I think that, we need to figure out some strategies to move that quicker.
And that's part of the conversation after this meeting today. So everybody's on board to try to make that happen.
Okay, thank you very much, Vice Chancellor Walker. All right, our final item is number 3.3, and it's board member reports. And I think we'll just start over here with Board Member Burdick. How have you been spending the last 2 months of your life?
Good morning. My travels were themed this month. I was able to go to the Community College Trustees in San Diego, where I focused a lot on the equity and diversity issue in hiring, which is certainly going to be important to our system. And so I spent most of my time going to things, especially one that was presented by CSU San Diego on teaching men of color. Fascinating presentation and a certificate program that I think I'm going to take with some of my colleagues at our campus. We also had a presentation by the Chancellor's office, including the Chancellor as the moderator on institutional effectiveness in California. I also then went to the EEO Diversity Summit in Irvine, which was certainly one of the finest diversity and equity conferences I've been to. We learned a tremendous amount about what the demographics are and what the demographics mean to us, especially that there are not enough diverse people out there to fill all of the positions we're going to have coming at us, which makes me think that we need to start thinking about how we make people like me a better teacher for students of diverse backgrounds. I think that's going to be very important. But also the afternoon session was an attorney who teaches about unconscious biases, which was fascinating because I walked out realizing I'm biased against virtually everything unconsciously, including the drapes in my hotel room, which are threatening me apparently. And I'm making light of it, but it was such an interesting thing to discover how important it is to realize that our unconscious biases are working on us when we are looking at, for example, hiring someone new for our system. There were also, I went to the plenary session, again, concentrating on the equity and diversity issues, and I was very pleased to see that practically the entire Chancellor's office was there in attendance, participating in forums on institutional effectiveness and on diversity and hiring, and it was really great to see that kind of partnership between the faculty and the Chancellor's office. Thank you.
Board Member Sumner.
Well, I was focused a lot on Veterans Day, with being a lot of different events and a couple different college campuses. And then Dr. Vire, I went to his fashion show that they did to raise money, and it was interesting watching Dr. Vire escort his wife down the fashion show in Burbank. And it was just wonderful to meet all of the teachers and to talk with them and just about fundraising and just trying to keep within your communities and the collaboration, to see just the local community involved with that. And it was actually very comical. I should have saved the picture instead of deleting the picture to show it to you. But I do have some of them. But Veterans Day was huge because I was sort of working with the collaboration, which is the Veterans Collaboration. And this year I decided I wanted to be a participant versus a speaker. And so I went to Forest Lawn this year and saw it from a different venue versus being in front and looking up. And I sat with some college students from PCC. And I was just trying to be off the grid a little bit. I like to go off the grid. I like to get away from computers and all that kind of stuff. But when you wear your hat, your shirt, your little dog tags, this little boy kept staring at me. And I was just sort of sitting there taking everything in. And then he just grabbed the side of my shirt. And I looked down at him, so I got a little bit lower. And he said to me, he said, "Thank you for keeping me safe." And I just lost it. And of course, the PCC guys that were sitting next to me, these are some Vietnam vets, we're all sitting here crying. We're going, a 4-year-old that just brought all of these tough veterans to their feet, to their knees actually. And then the boy just kept hugging me and I wouldn't let go of him. So I'm hugging him. And I'm just thinking to myself, instead of saying, "Thank you for your service, thank you for keeping me safe." So long story short, I then picked the kid up on my shoulder so he could see the whole venue and the bagpipes and everything. So that was just really, really sweet and just made us realize that it doesn't matter who you are. There was civilians in there. Everybody was just thanking the veterans. So I'd like to take this opportunity to thank the veterans and you again. Baka, you've just done so much, and the campuses here and the gunnery sergeant here, and there's just so much to do, and they do keep us safe with everything going on in the world. So this coming Friday, I'm actually speaking at Irvine on Women's Veterans Leadership Summit. So I'll be speaking this upcoming Friday at Irvine. So I hope to do more within the community and the colleges, and I'm trying to coordinate with the community colleges as far as disaster preparedness, because they are a hub, and I was really impressed when we talked about your campus here, how they have an emergency operations center. And it is important with where the world is going now, because that will make a difference. And I think our college campuses are where we can really save a lot more lives and pass it forward. So thank you.
Board Member Campbell.
Okay, thank you, everyone. During my very long tenure on the board, I've been extremely busy. No, during this weekend, I was very pleased to meet so many of you and discuss the great things that we'll be able to do, not only as board members, but as working with the Chancellor's office in providing that effective representation for the students and moving forward. Some of the better conversations and the ones that I look forward to continuing to having during my time here are the late night discussions with the Student Senate leadership, President Salem and Vice President Chavarin. I'm extremely intrigued by the goals that they have for the remainder of the year, and I look forward to working with them. I've been sitting in that room for the Student Senate for quite some time, and I'm very optimistic for where they're moving forward, and I look forward to bringing that information back to the board here. Thank you.
All right, Board Member Khan.
I too am equally exhausted by how long this tenure has been, but it's actually been extremely exciting being here and to speak with each of you either individually or as a board. And I wanted to actually focus on my past weekend. I was at the General Assembly for the Student Senate for California Community Colleges. Dahlia Salem was serving as chair and president, and Vice President Chavarin was running around a huge conference center that was made out of a hangar, literally working with 30 student senators that coordinated an event with 800 students approximately and 82 colleges. So to see 30 people who are students in their free time volunteering to help make that event possible was really empowering. And I think that the Student Senate is finally under stable leadership where they're able to move forward in a very positive way. So sharing the same point as Board Member Campbell, I'm excited to see where we are able to see the Student Senate go in the future. In the same breath, I'm very much so looking forward to the work that we do on this board, especially the legislative work. So thank you all for a wonderful first meeting.
Great. Board Member Avalos.
Great. So I continue my tours of all the community colleges of California still going on. So I've completed my 25th one. And this past couple of weeks, I spent time at Foothill de Anza and met with the Chancellor there and spent some time there at the Center for Innovation, right, which they have there in de Anza, which is kind of a great program around how to teach teachers, to be more effective in the classroom. And it was a great opportunity to be there. I also went out to Woodland College, I think that's 112th in the system, in Woodland, California, rural community, servicing obviously a population, mostly farm worker first generation students. Spent time there with some of the students, spent time there with the administrators, and then went over to Yuba College as well. That's kind of closer to my home where I grew up. And so spent some time there learning more about CTE and what's happening there and the great programs that are there. In addition to that, I also went to a conference, an EOPNS conference in San Diego, which brought together over 500 folks who work in the community colleges, specifically in EOPNS, and talk about all the great things that they're doing to, uplift a community of folks that, are in challenged environments. And so, to me, I'm glad EOPNS was restored this year, and it's making a difference, like we heard today. With Irene Herrera talked about, what it meant for her. So it's programs like that I feel are really making a difference in community colleges individually. And the question is, as a board, how can we continue to scale those programs? Because in reality, our population, 50% on bog waivers, 75% diverse, it's a big population. We just can't focus on, the small stuff. We have to really think about how to scale it. Just like we talked about with Dr. Stroggins. So with that, I close, but thank you.
Board Member Reed. Okay. Board Member Hawkins.
Thank you, Vice President Estolano. I would like to start off by thanking Mount San Antonio College for hosting us. I really appreciated the interaction with the students, the staff, and the faculty administration. It was eye-opening. Great college you have here, Manuel. Good job. The welcoming of Andrew and Hassan. I look forward to working with you in your tenure on the board. And for all of you that I won't see at CCLC, happy holidays. Enjoy your family and friends. Cherish the time you have.
Thank you, Board Member Hawkins. Board Member Belowski.
Once again, I've had the opportunity to attend a number of conferences or events since our last board meeting, and I will continue to say it's by attending those that I can keep up to date and be more aware of things within the system at large, as opposed to just a district or a college that I work at. I attended the RP group in early October, and it's interesting to get feedback on what different colleges are doing with the Triple SP plan or with the equity plan, and even at times the kind of struggles they're going through because of the way the funding is being done for those different planning efforts, and so it was good being there. I also had the good fortune of going to the ACCCT conference in San Diego. A lot of good breakout sessions, but one of the things that caught my attention was the number of breakout sessions from a variety of different states on basic skills. That this issue of students coming to two-year colleges, community colleges, underprepared and in need of higher skills in math and English is not unique to California. It's a U.S. issue, a United States problem. I was impressed that one state actually has made the decision in terms of remediation to work with local high schools and to go into the senior year of high school and to provide college remediation in math and English in order to get senior students graduating who are not good in math and English prepared and even inspired to go to a community college. I attended the fall plenary of the State Academic Senate, and I also want to thank all of the efforts that are going on to bring the State Senate and the Chancellor's Office leadership together and to provide a number of workshops that are very helpful to see the two groups together talking and working together and making things more possible for our students. And I attended on November 13th, this past Friday, one of the regional curriculum workshops that was being presented by the State Academic Senate. Quite good. And again, the involvement of the Chancellor's Office is just amazing because that was very helpful. And to know that we're moving to a different curriculum system in the Chancellor's Office, and the fact that as we make that move, there's now starting to be a willingness to say, do we need to change our procedures to make them more effective? And later this week, I will be off to CCLC in Burlingame, and I look forward to the Chancellor's comments on Thursday evening. And I want to thank all here at Mount SAC for having us and for showing us the wonderful things that are happening here for students.
Thank you. Board Member Shaw.
Well, as you know, Vice President Estolano, this is my fourth meeting. I'm a new board member. And so my agenda really is just to learn. And when I leave here, I want to be just like Dr. Baca. I want to make a difference. So that's sort of been my quest for the last few months. I did have the honor of being honored at LA Trade Tech, as you know. Larry Frank is a former deputy mayor for the city of Los Angeles, and Vice President and I both are former general managers from the city of Los Angeles. So Larry had his foundation, actually, which is extraordinary. His foundation had a fundraiser, Student Success Dinner, on the campus, and I guess they had about 500 people. I was honored, not for this work here, but I guess for the city work that I've done. And Hilda Solis was honored, supervisor, and labor leader, and someone from the foundation. And they raised over $325,000, which was amazing. Something we can do, I think, too. And then, probably the most significant thing that happened to me in the last few weeks was that I was able to attend last week. I was in Oakland to attend the Ujima community meeting. And I have to say, I was just, Denise was there, I don't know who else was there here, but it was just an extraordinary experience of seeing this support organization, primarily for African Americans, but also Latinos, and the stories of the students and the progress of the students and the passion of the faculty and the administrators that come together to move forward these young people and just community college students in general was just extraordinary. You go to the workshops and you're crying because the stories are so phenomenal. The energy and the joy that you felt at this event was just extraordinary, and I want to try. One of the things in terms of trying to make a difference and add value, I certainly want to support this organization, maybe in terms of fundraising or anything else I can do, using my resources to move forward this organization. But again, I mentioned to our new members, if there's anything I can do to move forward what they're interested in too, I'm available. I'm looking to add value. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Board Member Conway.
Thank you, Madam Chair. In my aspiration to be like Member Avalos, I'm trying to, in my mind's eye, it's like I'm going to every campus. Well, I'm getting there, but I'm struggling. But in the past couple of months, I had an opportunity to attend a public policy forum that West Hills College puts on. It was a series. It was, I think they said it was the fourth one in a series that they're presenting. And it was very interesting because while it wasn't specific to community colleges, there were a variety of topics. It was the impact, part of it was about water because of where we live, but the impact not only on the community, but on the college, what role they play, in bringing those issues forward. So it was quite interesting. The luncheon speaker at that policy meeting was Linda, now I'm not going to say her last name, from the wonderful company, which used to be Paramount Farms, of Linda Resnick, very energetic woman. I would love for her to come and do a presentation for all of us on her thoughts and theories on education. But that was quite interesting. It was kind of the highlight of the day. And West Hills is very involved with the whole community, a small town close to the college where she's revamping their whole education priorities. And then how does that link in with the community college? So it was great. I really enjoyed that. I also had an opportunity to go to a forum put on by Taft College, and actually our Chancellor was one of the speakers at that. It was an interesting setting. It was at what's known as Oil Dorado. I'm not sure I know the complete history of Taft and Oil Dorado. It's something that happens every 5 years, and it's a big community. But I was proud and happy to see that Taft College had a policy day, and it was well attended. It was like a mini business conference that they put on sometimes in the Valley, and to see the college be part of that. So I didn't get a chance to go tour the campus, but that's still on my list. So as you can see, I'm kind of expanding my horizons out from my little center of the world in the very center of California. And I was very honored because College of Sequoias in October placed me in their Hall of Fame. Don't know that it was deserved, but I had a great time. They let me speak first because I had instructions that I was not to overspeak, so I did not. But the real highlight for me at College of Sequoias being in the Hall of Fame was there were a couple of coaches and another community member, but the five runners from the movie McFarland, who actually, after leaving McFarland High and their successes, and you've probably all seen the movie and seen their story, the 5 of them were inducted in the Hall of Fame at the same time I was. So I was stoked. I was really excited about that, and it was great to hear their stories about what community college meant to them. And they are all now back in except for one. They teach, they work in the community of McFarland. So their success at College of Sequoias, really changed many of the direction of many of their lives. So it was great. It was a wonderful opportunity. To Mr. Baca, I didn't get to work with you very much. Of course, I knew who you were and very aware of all your work. And I'm really glad that you reassured me today that my very first meeting was your last one, and I sat next to you, and I felt really bad because I thought, oh my gosh, I just got here and I drove this poor man off of the board already. But you assured me that I didn't do that, so I felt good about that. And Dr. Scroggins, I've learned from many of my friends at this point in my life that semantics are important, and I have some lifelong friends that I'm not allowed to refer to as good old friends. I have to refer to them as longtime friends. I don't know what that is. So I was going to say, good to see an old friend again, but I will not say that. Good to see a longtime friend again. A fantastic campus, bigger than most colleges, I think, in California. Just the amount of things that are happening on this campus is really fantastic. So very happy to see you and very happy to be here. And I talked more than I planned on. Thank you.
Thank you, Board Member Conway. Board Member Perry.
I too wanted to thank Dr. Scroggins for an extraordinary time here, and I was particularly inspired by my conversations last evening with the Dreamers, and I think there are 2,000 of them here, if I'm correct. So it's extraordinary hearing about their journeys, and it makes me think the community colleges are kind of a resiliency incubator, and really fostering and encouraging that resiliency that I saw in you, and enabling you to pursue a longer, better path. So it reminded me, too, that I spent last weekend writing a recommendation for a former foster youth for grad school. And I'm hoping that to meet many more of you who are here and others who I will be able to write that kind of recommendation for. And I think the community colleges will set a lot of youth on that path. So thank you, Dr. Baca, and everyone here for all the work you do. It's been an honor to be here.
Thank you, Board Member Perry. I'll conclude with just a few items. I was also fortunate enough to go to the ACCT conference in San Diego and got the honor of presenting on the Student Success Initiative of our system with Chancellor Harris, Vice Chancellor Skinner, and former Board President Manuel Baca. It was really a great presentation, and thank you, Vice Chancellor Skinner, for getting me well prepared. Also wanted to note that I attended the EEO Diversity Summit, and I wanted to give a shout out to our Interim General Counsel, Thuy Nguyen. You did a wonderful job in the presentation and really highlighting the importance of this initiative, just this window of opportunity to take the $62.3 million in faculty hiring money and really do our best to recruit folks who look like the current state of California and the future of the state of California. Also want to commend the Academic Senate for your strong commitment to that. I think that Diversity Summit, EEO Diversity Summit, was really aimed at giving the key folks, stakeholders, the tools they need to really reach out and recruit the talent that we need. I might also note, and this is kind of an outgrowth of the Strong Workforce Task Force report, the importance of reaching out to our industry leaders as potential faculty. It's just, I think so many of us who have been working and probably have never thought about teaching at a community college. And I've certainly seen it in the CTE realm, where you have retired, for example, aerospace engineers and technicians wanting to contribute to the field and finding their way, one way or another, to community colleges. If we could just expand that, we could really enhance the resources of our colleges. And lastly, last Friday, I had the pleasure of being on a panel with Chancellor Tim White from the CSU segment, as well as a senior executive from PG&E at the California Forward Economic Summit in Ontario. And we had a very brief, one of those posed conversations when you're in three chairs and you're supposedly chatting with each other. And not doing prepared statements. I got a chance to really talk about our wonderful Strong Workforce Task Force recommendations. We had a number of vice chancellors at that two-day summit, Vice Chancellor Troy, Vice Chancellor Von Quinlivan. We also had Director Deborah Jones was there, and I think a number of others, but those are the three that I can recall off the top of my head. Our task force recommendations were the talk of that summit. And it was really wonderful to be in a position to pitch some of the high-level recommendations, and I hope that convening will propel a lot more action from our industry partners to help on things like stable funding, to help with curriculum development and recruitment of faculty. So that concludes my report on my activities. Thank you, Dr. Scroggins. You've been a wonderful host. Thank you, Manuel. It's just been wonderful to see you in your home territory. We have one more item on our agenda, and that would be public comment. And let the students proclaim. What do we have?
Our
Board
first
Member Reed.
speaker will be Victor Chavron.
I realized yesterday when I came and introduced myself, I didn't say what college I attended. I am a student of West Hills College, Lemoore, in the Central Valley. There is a lot of dirt and cows by me. Madam Vice President, board members, and Chancellor Harris, thank you for letting me participate these past 2 days. We apologize for leaving early yesterday. We went to go see our constituents at Rio Honda. They were having an associate student meeting, so we went and hopped on an Uber and traveled to their meeting. We thank you all for serving. The Student Senate greatly appreciates all the work you guys do each and every day, pretty much, serving us. Thank you to Hassan and Andrew for applying to be Board of Governors, as well as receiving the nod from Governor Brown. We expect great things from you, and we thank you for serving. We also want to thank the Board of Governors for putting in your budget request $200,000 for the Student Senate for California Community Colleges for the next upcoming budget year. It's greatly needed, it's greatly appreciated, and we can do great successful things for our 2.4 million students with that money. That is all I have. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Delia Salmo.
Hello again. So, same problem. I realized I did not identify which college I attended. My name is Dalia Salem. I attend Foothill College, and I serve as the president for the Student Senate for California Community Colleges. Thank you for allowing me to address you again. The Student Senate has just returned this weekend from our semi-annual General Assembly conference. It is an opportunity for the Student Senate to meet with all the 114 associated student organizations. That is right. We have 114 due to the fact that we recognized Compton Community College Center's associated student organization. We had 85 colleges in attendance, and we got the chance to adopt over 20 resolutions that will be setting our policy agenda for the remainder of the year. Historically, a few of these resolutions were transformed into bills that held legal statute within the legislature. And speaking of which, I'm excited to present to this board in March, along with the Chancellor's office, about the Student Senate's work to demonstrate that we've complied and exceeded your expectations to collect the revenue intended for the Student Senate from AB 1358. We're confident that we'll be here and you'll be seeing a lot more of us moving forward. I'm extremely thrilled to have the 2 new student BOG members who were previously part of our Senate and who have consistently showed up to our meetings. They truly exemplify what it means to be in tune with the students in our system. And I hope that moving forward, the Board of Governors can further utilize the Student Senate and put into perspective that we, along with the BOG members, are the sole and primary voice for the students within the system. There should be no question as to what the student stance is as long as we're in the room. Unfortunately, at the end of the day, we are students and we're not able to make this our full-time job. We have academics, paid jobs, and family obligations to take care of. So I ask you to forgive us and to not forget about the Student Senate when we're not able to make it to a meeting. And I'm confident that you will not, with the presence of the 2 new student BOG members. I ask you to remember us as an ally, a system partner, and most importantly, the biggest stakeholder when it comes to your decisions. We thank you for your work, and we're extremely thrilled and happy about the budget request you developed and adopted. We're excited to see categorical funding being prioritized, as it is something that has a huge impact on our students within the communities of color. We're excited to collaborate and support you on advocating for Proposition 30 extension, as well as student success funding. Thank you for always inviting us to the table, and we're excited to see what work we can have arise out of this collaboration.
Well, thank you, and congratulations on your election. It's really nice to have you both. We look forward to a great year together. Chancellor Harris, any other thoughts?
No, except to thank Bill and the college for being tremendous hosts. We genuinely appreciate it.
All right, seeing no other business, this meeting is adjourned. Thank you.
Good job.